You're the disappointments. Sophia's small voice cracked through the marble office like a gunshot. The words hung in the air, impossible from a 10-year-old girl clutching an old Purple Heart in one hand and a challenge coin in the other. Evelyn Lynn's face drained of color. Travis took a half-step back as if slapped. Even the slick lawyer Harlan Voss froze mid-sneer. General Roger Lynn stood motionless behind the massive desk, his 2 silver stars catching the light, watching the room implode. Sophia didn't flinch. Her cornrows-framed eyes blazing with something far older than 10. He told me everything, she said, voice shaking but steady. How you never came. Not once. How you only called when you needed money. How you left him alone on that bench to die. Lila laughed, a sharp, ugly sound that died in her throat when Sophia stepped forward. I was there every single day. I saw his hands shake so bad he couldn't hold the cookie. I fed him like he was my own grandpa. Where were you? Maya reached for her daughter, terrified, whispering, Sophia, baby, stop. But Sophia wasn't done. He waited 2 years for someone to care. And the only family that showed up was us. The footlocker sat open on the floor between them, green metal stenciled with a name none of them had spoken in decades. J. Huff. The silence was suffocating. And in that frozen moment, no one in the room yet understood that the little girl in the simple dress had just declared war on a billionaire dynasty, and she was about to win. Before we continue, I want to speak to you for a moment. If stories like this remind you that kindness still exists, if they make you feel something real in a world that's getting louder and colder, then I'd love to have you here with us. This channel isn't just videos, it's a tiny corner of the internet where good people come together. Where we believe in second chances, in hope, and in humanity. And right now you're early. You're part of the very first people building this family with me. So if you want to grow with us, if you want more stories that touch your heart, go ahead and subscribe. It's free, it supports the channel more than you know. And it tells me that there are still people out there who believe in kindness just as much as I do. If you have subscribed to this channel, I can officially say welcome to the family. Washington, D.C., Fall 2025. The chill rolling in from the Anacostia River signals fall has arrived, and the trees around the Washington, D.C. VA Medical Center on Irving Street Northwest are dropping leaves like forgotten promises. The VA, that sprawling brick campus at 50 Irving Street Northwest, visible from miles away with the Capitol Dome in the distance, is a world unto itself. Long pale hallways, the constant hum of monitors, the sharp scent of disinfectant mixed with institutional food. It's a place for heroes who've faded from the headlines, where the staff hustles quietly and the patients wait, for recovery, for visitors, or sometimes just for the end. 2 years earlier, Albert Lynn, white-haired billionaire logistics tycoon, World War II vet, one of the wealthiest men most folks never knew existed, made a choice that shocked his inner circle. He liquidated major holdings in his shipping empire, locked the fortune in an unbreakable trust, cut his daughter Evelyn and her 2 adult kids a final fat check and disappeared. No yacht farewell. No family meeting. Just a crisp note, I'm done being a wallet with a pulse. Time to find out if anyone's left who cares when the money's gone. Evelyn dismissed it as dementia kicking in early. Travis and Lila rolled their eyes. Grandpa's dramatic phase. They assumed he'd burn through whatever cash he kept and come begging. They pocketed their shares, upgraded their Bethesda lifestyles and stopped calling. Albert Lynn became yesterday's news to them long before he ever checked himself into the VA. And that's exactly what he did, voluntarily, under his real name but with zero financial footprint attached. Room 214 on the 3rd floor. Standard issue bed, thin blanket, view of the parking lot. Ragged clothes he'd picked up from a thrift shop, a small duffel for his belongings. He grumbled at nurses, refused half his meals and earned the nickname Cranky Al Fast. Staff avoided him when possible. He scared off the few volunteers who tried small talk. Down those same hallways, Maya Huff pushed her cleaning cart through the ward for her double shift. Black single mom in her early 40s, braids pinned up practically, hands cracked from harsh chemicals. She'd been cleaning at the DCVA for 3 years, steady federal contractor gig with benefits, but barely enough to cover rising rent in Anacostia and keep her beat-up Honda running. No family help since her husband bailed years ago. Bringing Sophia along after school wasn't plan A, but daycare costs laughed at that idea. The staff break room turned into Sophia's spot. A corner table, vending machine hum, and Maya's firm rules. Stay low, baby. We're guests here. No trouble or Mr. Henderson pulls the plug. Sophia Huff, 10 years old, neat cornrows, eyes that soaked up every detail, mastered invisibility. Homework amid mop buckets and nurse chatter. But one muggy Tuesday in late September, the break room was unbearable after a bleach spill. Sophia eased the door open for fresh air and wandered just far enough down the hall. That's when she heard him. This slop again? You call that dinner? Albert's gravelly voice echoed as a young aide backed out of room 214, tray untouched, face flushed. Sophia peeked through the cracked door. The old white man looked frail, shock of unruly white hair, deep wrinkles, fierce blue eyes like chipped ice. Something about him reminded her of the faded photo on their apartment wall. Great-grandpa Jeremiah Huff, black World War II soldier, the family hero who'd saved lives overseas. That night she told Maya. Her mom rubbed tired eyes. That's Mr. Lin in 214. But real sick, real ornery. Nurses call him Cranky Al. Stay far away, sophomore. I can't risk this job. But Sophia couldn't forget the full tray pushed aside. Next afternoon she saved her school cafeteria chocolate chip cookie. Waited till Maya was deep in the supply closet. Slipped down the hall like a ghost. Albert dozed in his chair by the window. She tiptoed in, placed the cookie on a napkin by his water cup, and fled. Next day, napkin empty, folded neat. Day 3, another cookie left. As she spun to leave, his eyes flicked open. You the cookie bandit? Sophia froze mid-step. I am sorry, sir. He stared, piercing. Chocolate chip. My late wife baked them better, crisp edges. His arthritic fingers fumbled the cookie, took a bite. Too gooey. Hospital air ruins everything. But he ate it all. It turned into routine. 3:30 p.m. daily. Sophia with cafeteria finds, cookie, Jell-O cup she swiped. Ironic, since he hated the stuff. Apple from the nurse's station if someone looked away. Albert griped every visit. Too many chips. Chocolate's overrated. Stale as yesterday's news. Who invented soft centers? Criminal. But he finished them. And bit by bit stories leaked out. Normandy beaches. Marching through Europe. How DC had streetcars once, real ones. How nobody visited anymore. Family's busy, I guess. Sophia perched on the room's spare chair, close enough for whispers, far enough to dash if footsteps came. She shared about school near the mall, learning about the Tuskegee Airmen, how Maya dozed off in her scrubs most nights. One day his hands trembled so badly the cookie scattered crumbs everywhere. Sophia instinctively gathered them, held a piece to his lips. He locked eyes with her a long moment, something vulnerable flashing, then took the bite. When done, he dug in his bedside drawer, pressed a heavy brass coin into her hand. Eagle one side, old unit insignia the other. Trade? He muttered, looking away. Don't need trinkets cluttering the place. Sophia traced it, wide-eyed. Thank you, Mr. Al. It's Albert, he corrected roughly. And save the thanks. Just keep showing up, kid. Weeks melted into an unlikely bond no one noticed. Maya discovered eventually, caught Sophia sneaking back, and laid down the law for days. But even Maya noticed the quiet joy it sparked in her daughter, a rare light in their grind. Then came the afternoon everything tilted. Sophia hurried in at 3:30, cookie ready for the usual snort. But room 214 was stripped bare. Bed naked, mattress exposed. No personal touches. Empty. She stood stunned in the doorway, scanning, when a muffled voice drifted from the hallway phone nook, Albert, half-shadowed, speaking into a cheap flip phone she'd never seen. 2 years in this place and not a single visit from blood. Billions locked away, Roger, and I'm still waiting for one genuine soul without an angle. Think I found her, though. Little black girl, eyes just like Jeremiah's. Sharp, kind. Pause. Yeah. Trust stays sealed. If this one's real, we rewrite the orders. Sophia's pulse thundered. She backed away silently, cookie crumbling in her grip. Billions? Jeremiah? The cranky old vet in room 214 wasn't anything he seemed. And tomorrow, when she returned, she had no idea who she'd really be visiting anymore. The next afternoon came too fast. Sophia rushed off the school bus, backpack bouncing, clutching the best cookie yet. A fresh chocolate chip one she traded her recess apple for. The DCVA Medical Center at 50 Irving Street Northwest loomed ahead, its brick buildings a familiar sight against the gray November sky. Leaves skittered across the parking lot as she slipped through the main entrance, nodding at the security desk like always. 3:30 on the dot. She tiptoed down the third-floor hallway, past the nurse's station where head nurse Jacobs was charting, thankfully busy. Room 214's door was ajar, just a crack like usual. But something was wrong. Sophia pushed it open slowly. The bed was stripped bare. No thin blanket, no lumpy pillow Albert always complained shot his neck, just the pale vinyl mattress staring back like a blank page. His water cup gone. The bedside table cleared. No napkin scraps, no thermos. The room smelled only of bleach now, not the faint old paper scent that lingered around him. "Mr. Albert?" she whispered, voice echoing too loud in the empty space. No gravelly reply. No cough. Nothing. Her heart did a funny drop like missing a step on the stairs. She stepped inside, sneakers squeaking on the linoleum. The cookie felt suddenly silly in her hand. Sophia Huff, what in the world are you doing in a discharged room? Sophia jumped, spinning to see Maya in the doorway, light blue scrubs damp from mopping, braids tucked under her cap. She held fresh sheets, face lined with that end-of-shift tired. I was looking for Mr. Albert. Maya's expression shifted, stern to something softer, sadder. She set the sheets on the cart outside. "Baby, come here." Sophia didn't move. Where'd he go? Did he get better? Go home. Maya knelt, pulling her close. "No, sweetie. Mr. Henderson told me this morning. Mr. Lin passed overnight. Peacefully in his sleep. He's gone." The words landed heavy, like the bleach smell choking the air. Sophia's eyes stung. Gone? Just like that? No goodbye? No last complaint about the cookie being too gooey? She didn't get to finish the thought. A sharp, rhythmic sound cut through the ward, the precise clack of polished boots on tile, marching in unison. Not the soft squeak of nurse shoes or the shuffle of orderlies. This was military. Maya pulled Sophia half behind her, protective. Down the long pale hallway came Mr. Henderson, the flustered administrator, speed walking backward, hands clasped like he was escorting royalty. Behind him, 6 men in full dress uniforms, moving as one disciplined unit. The leader was tall, broad-shouldered, face carved from stone, dark green jacket with a chest full of ribbons and medals that caught the fluorescent lights, 2 silver stars gleaming on each shoulder. Sharp eyes that scanned everything. The 5 officers behind him mirrored the precision. Crisp ties, white gloves, shoes shining like mirrors. The hallway went dead quiet. A nurse froze mid-med cart push. An elderly vet in a wheelchair stared. Even the constant beeps seemed to hush. They stopped right outside room 214. The general fixed his gaze on Mr. Henderson. His voice was deep, commanding, the kind that filled briefing rooms at the Pentagon. "You're the administrator?" "Why, yes, General Roger Lin, sir," Henderson stammered, sweating through his polo. We weren't expecting." "I'm not here for ceremony," the general interrupted, eyes sweeping the doorway, landing on Maya in her scrubs, then Sophia peeking out. "I'm here for Albert Lin." Henderson swallowed. "Sir, Mr. Lin passed this morning. Peacefully. We've begun processing." The general's jaw tightened, just a flicker, then a nod like receiving a battlefield report. "Then I'm executing his final directives. I was his executor and nephew." His gaze locked on Sophia. Maya gripped her daughter's shoulder tighter, trying to shield her, but it was too late. "I was told of a young visitor. A girl who brought him treats. His supply sergeant." Henderson blinked. "Sir, there's no official, she's just the cleaner's daughter." "Not supposed to." "Is this the girl?" The tone left no room for debate. The general stepped forward, and Maya, a black woman who'd spent years making herself small in these halls, found herself facing a 2-star army general. His eyes softened fractionally as they dropped to Sophia's wide, tear-rimmed ones. "Young lady," he said, voice gentling but still carrying weight. "Did you visit Albert Lin?" Sophia nodded, too stunned to speak. The general turned to Henderson. "We'll need privacy." Minutes later, Sophia and Maya sat in the back of a sleek black SUV idling outside the VA entrance. Part of a small convoy, 2 more vehicles fore and aft. The driver in a dark suit said nothing. Maya clutched her purse like a lifeline, still in scrubs. She'd begged to change, but the general had been firm. "No time, Mrs. Huff. We have arrangements." General Roger Lin sat opposite them, posture perfect. The ride cut through DC traffic, past the Capitol's dome glowing in the late afternoon light, over the Potomac into Georgetown's cobblestone charm. "Where are we going?" Maya finally whispered, voice trembling. "If it's about bills or—" "It's not," Roger said calmly. Uncle Albert was precise. "Some unusual final wishes." He looked at Sophia. "He spoke of you often. Called you fearless. The only one who wasn't scared of Cranky Al." The SUV pulled into an underground garage beneath a gleaming tower overlooking the Potomac River, the kind of place with doormen and views that stretched to the Kennedy Center and beyond. A private elevator shot them upward, silent and swift. The doors opened into a penthouse office. Dark wood panels, thick carpets muffling steps, floor-to-ceiling windows framing sweeping views of the river sparkling under the setting sun, Georgetown's historic rooftops below. "Please sit." Roger gestured to plush leather chairs that made Maya and Sophia look tiny. Maya's hands twisted in her lap. "General, please, whatever this is. Call me Roger." He stood by a massive desk, exhaling. "I was Albert's attorney. His nephew. His last real link to the world he left." He paused, gaze distant over the Potomac. Albert Lynn wasn't just a forgotten vet. He was a billionaire. Built a global logistics empire after the war, ports from Baltimore to overseas hubs. Worth hundreds of millions. Maya's mouth fell open. But he was here. In a standard room. Ragged clothes. Roger nodded grimly. He walked away from it all 2 years ago. Cut off his daughter Evelyn, her kids Travis and Lila, gave them a final payout, nothing more. They saw him as an endless fund. No visits. No calls. He wanted to know if the world had anyone left who cared without knowing the money. He opened a leather folder. Albert thought like a soldier, direct orders. His will, family gets nothing else. Oversight to me. To Maya Huff, for raising a child with real heart. $750,000. To never clean these halls again. Maya gasped, hand to chest. I can't, we didn't. It's yours. Ironclad. To Sophia, the bulk, a trust worth far more, managed until she's of age. Plus his trinkets. He slid a heavy, weathered green footlocker across the carpet. Old military issue stenciled in faded paint. J. Huff. Sophia's breath caught. That's like my great-grandpa's name. Jeremiah Huff. Maya whispered, tears starting. His locker, from the war. Roger crouched, eyes level with Sophia's. Uncle Albert served with Jeremiah in Europe. Your great-grandfather saved his life, took fire meant for him. Albert spent decades searching for Jeremiah's family. Thought the line died out. He met her gaze. Then he saw you. Those eyes exactly like Jeremiah's. But it wasn't chance. After going poor, he chose this VA specifically. Tracked whispers of Jeremiah's descendants to DC years ago. Waited on that ward, hoping fate, or whatever, would bring you. Sophia stared at the locker, mind reeling. The cookies. The complaints. The coin. It wasn't random kindness he'd tested. He'd been searching for them all along. And now, everything was about to change, whether they were ready or not. The Georgetown penthouse felt like a different world, too quiet after the VA's constant hum, too grand with its river views and polished wood. Maya and Sophia sat frozen in the oversized leather chairs, the green footlocker between them like a silent witness. General Roger Lynn stood by the window, phone to his ear, voice low as he confirmed arrangements. Maya's mind spun. $750,000. A trust for Sophia. Albert Lynn, a billionaire, all along. And that locker. Jeremiah's name stenciled on it. Her great-grandfather's. The man whose faded photo hung in their tiny apartment. The hero who'd fought in a segregated army and come home to build a quiet life. Sophia traced the letters J. Huff with one finger, the challenge coin still warm in her pocket. The intercom buzzed sharply, once, then insistent. Roger's face hardened. He pressed the button. Yes, Diane? General Lynn, I'm so sorry, his secretary's voice crackled, flustered. Ms. Evelyn Lynn and her children are here, with counsel. They're demanding entry. Security can't. Send them up, Roger said, voice dropping into that battlefield calm. He released the button and turned to Maya and Sophia. Stay seated. This was expected. Maya's stomach nodded. His family? Roger nodded once. The vultures have landed. The double doors burst open without a knock. In swept Evelyn Lynn, late 60s, impeccably dressed in a tailored black coat, pearls tight at her throat, face Botox smooth but eyes sharp as broken glass. Behind her, Travis, mid-30s, soft around the edges in an expensive but rumpled suit, phone already in hand. Lila, early 30s, tall and angular in designer athleisure, hair pulled back severely, lips pursed in permanent disapproval. Trailing them, Harlan Voss, the lawyer, hawk-faced, pinstripes crisp, briefcase clutched like a weapon, sneer etched deep. Evelyn's gaze swept the room, landing on Maya in her VA scrubs and Sophia on the floor beside the open footlocker. What's this? Evelyn's voice sliced the air, each word iced. Travis scrolled his phone absently. Uncle Roger, seriously? We get a text about Dad passing, from you, and find the cleaning lady here. Lila folded her arms. And her kid touching grandfather's things. Cute. Roger didn't flinch. He stood straighter if possible. Evelyn, Travis, Lila, Mr. Voss. Albert's passing was this morning. My first duty was executing his directives. Directives. Evelyn laughed, cold, brittle. His directive was to notify family. His actual family. On the contrary, Roger said evenly. His explicit instruction was that you not be first. He didn't want theatrics at the hospital. Travis flushed red. He was senile? Confused. I'm his grandson. That remains debatable, Roger replied coolly. Voss stepped forward, briefcase snapping open. General Lin, we've reviewed preliminary filings. This is absurd. A man living as a pauper in a VA ward disinheriting blood relatives? It reeks of undue influence. His eyes drilled into Maya. We'll be contesting on grounds of incapacity and manipulation. Maya shrank. We didn't even know he had money? Convenient, Lila hissed, stepping closer to Sophia. Grandfather suddenly bonds with the maid's daughter? Feeding him cookies like some fairy tale? How much did you coach her? Sophia rose slowly, small frame rigid. She clutched the purple heart box Roger had shown them earlier. He was my friend. Travis waved dismissively. Kids say anything. You weren't there, Sophia said, voice steady despite the tremble. Everyone froze. She sounded older than 10. Not once. He waited 2 years. I was there every day. I saw him cry when his hands hurt too bad to hold the cookie. I fed him. Where were you? Evelyn's mouth twisted. How dare. You're the leeches, Sophia cut in, pointing. He said so. You only called for money. You left him alone to die. I didn't. Maya whispered, Sophia? But the girl wasn't done. He said you were disappointments. And he was right. The room went dead silent. Even Voss paused mid-note taking. Lila recovered first, eyes narrowing on the footlocker. And this war buddy sob story? Touching. Inventive. Roger finally moved, voice low thunder. Jeremiah Huff was real. A hero. Albert's life debt. Your grandfather, father, spent years searching for his family. We'll see in court, Voss sneered. We'll freeze assets. Depose everyone. Examine Mrs. Huff's finances, every overdue bill, every shift worked. The child too. Put a 10-year-old on the stand. See how the story holds. Maya paled, swaying. Please, we don't want trouble. Take the money. We just want to go home. No, Mama, Sophia gripped her hand. Mr. Albert wanted us to have it. He traded fair. Evelyn laughed sharply. Billions for cafeteria cookies? We'll have her labeled impressionable. This is over. Enough, Roger roared, pure command voice that rattled the windows. The relatives stilled. You'll file your motions. I'll counter. But you will not threaten a child in my presence. He nodded to the diary on the desk, a simple spiral notebook pulled from the footlocker's hidden lining earlier. Albert anticipated this. Daily entries for 2 years. Notarized weekly. Every meal, every nurse, every visitor, or lack thereof. Your abandonment in black and white. Lila's confidence flickered. Voss snapped the briefcase shut. This isn't over, Evelyn spat, turning on her heel. The trio stormed out, doors slamming. Roger exhaled slowly. Security will escort them. I'm sorry you had to see that. Maya trembled. They'll ruin us. Not if I can help it. He glanced at the darkening sky over the Potomac. Albert prepared for war. But for now you're not safe at your apartment. They know where you live. That night, the convoy, 3 black SUVs, wound north through D.C., past the glowing White House into the quiet, tree-lined streets of Chevy Chase. They pulled into a modest but elegant brick colonial. Manicured lawn, porch light warm, American flag on a pole. Albert's safe house, Roger explained as they stepped out into crisp air. Owned it anonymously for decades. Paid for. Stocked. Yours now, for as long as needed. Inside, hardwood floors, fresh paint smell, fully furnished like someone expected them. Maya wandered rooms and days, 3 bedrooms, a real backyard. Sophia carried the footlocker herself, setting it at the foot of her new bed. Roger lingered at the door. Settled? Good. Court will be ugly but we fight. Rest. After he left, Maya finally broke. Silent tears in the kitchen over stocked fridge staples she'd never afforded. Sophia sat cross-legged on her bedroom carpet, footlocker open. She ran hands over Jeremiah's wool blanket, the Purple Heart, the journal. Something felt off, bottom too shallow. Curiosity won. She pressed along the edges. A hidden panel clicked. Inside, a thin oilskin packet. Yellowed envelopes, coded handwriting, military encryption. One addressed to Lynn, in Jeremiah's elegant script. Sophia carefully opened it. The intel you smuggled out of that Gestapo office built your first shipping contracts post-war. Those routes were blood-bought, mine and the men's. I never wanted repayment. But if you're reading this, promise me, find my blood. Settle the debt proper. Not with money, with family. Her breath caught. Albert hadn't just been saved. Jeremiah's actions, smuggled Nazi logistics papers, directly seeded Albert's empire. A war debt turned fortune. If the family found this, they could claim the inheritance wasn't kindness or will, it was forced repayment of a stolen legacy. Everything balanced on secrets now. And tomorrow the real battle would begin. 6 months later, June 13, 2025. The Washington, D.C. VA Medical Center looked different under the bright summer sun. Construction barriers were gone, fresh landscaping bloomed along Irving Street, and a new wing gleamed at the edge of the campus. Warm brick, big windows, a covered entrance with a simple bronze plaque waiting to be unveiled. The parking lot overflowed. Veterans in wheelchairs, families, staff in scrubs, even a few local news crews. Maya Huff stood at the podium in a tailored navy dress she'd never dreamed of owning, hands steady for the first time in years. Sophia, now 11, stood beside her in a sundress, cornrows adorned with a subtle blue ribbon. General Roger Lynn, retired now but still ramrod straight, flanked them, medals traded for a quiet gray suit. Those 6 months had been war. Harlan Voss wasted no time. Motions flew. Asset freezes, demands for financial records, psychological evaluations. Maya's overdue bills, Sophia's school reports, everything dragged into the open. Depositions in a cold downtown D.C. law firm overlooking Judiciary Square became battlegrounds. Maya went first. Voss circled like a shark. Mrs. Huff, you claim no knowledge of Mr. Lynn's wealth? None. I cleaned his ward. That's all. Yet your daughter visited daily. Sneaking treats. Defying hospital rules you enforced. I told her to stop. She has a big heart. Or saw opportunity. Voss slapped files down. Your debts, rent arrears, car note, medical bills from your late mother's care. Desperate times, yes? Maya's voice cracked but held. We managed. Voss turned to Sophia next. The room chilled as the 10-year-old, 11 by then, took the big chair, feet barely touching the floor. Miss Huff, Voss began, syrupy. Your mother instructed you to befriend the patient? No, sir. She told me not to. Yet you persisted. Why? Because he was hungry. And lonely. The jello was gross, he called it slop. Snickers from the court reporter. Voss pressed. He promised rewards? Money? A better life. Sophia frowned, genuine. No. He traded a coin for cookies. Said it was junk. A coin for billions? Quite the trade. Objection, Roger rumbled. Badgering. Sophia leaned forward. He said I reminded him of his friend Jeremiah. That we were family now. Better than the ones who never came. Evelyn, Travis, and Lila watched from the gallery, faces stone. Voss pounced on the hidden letters. leaked somehow, twisting them into proof. Albert's empire was built on Jeremiah's stolen intel, making the will coerced repayment, not gift. Roger waited until closing arguments. Then he played the video. A small recorder on the table. Grainy but clear. Albert Lynn in room 214 weeks before his passing. Thin gown, fierce blue eyes straight into camera. Date, August 8, 2025. Full faculties. Sound mind. To Evelyn Travis Lila, if you're watching you've contested. Proves my point, greedy to the end. He coughed but pressed on. No undue influence. No incapacity. I chose this. Tested the world, and it failed until one kid showed up with a cafeteria cookie. Sophia Huff. Jeremiah's blood. Eyes just like his. She saw me when no one else did. A pause, rare softness. The letters? Jeremiah saved my life, and gave me a start. But I built the rest. Debt repaid long ago. This inheritance is mine to give. To Maya Huff for dignity. To Sophia for kindness. They're the family I waited for. He looked off camera, gruff smile. And kid, if you're watching, chocolate chips not so bad. Thanks for the trade. The room silent. Voss deflated. Evelyn stormed out mid-playback. Travis muttered excuses. Lila's contempt cracked into something hollow. Judge ruled swiftly, will ironclad. No coercion. Assets released. The vultures vanished. Now at the dedication Maya spoke first. I'm Maya Huff. I used to push a mop down these halls. Make myself invisible to keep my job, keep food on the table. She looked out, familiar faces, nurses who'd shared coffee breaks, orderlies like kind-hearted George who'd slipped Sophia snacks, veterans who'd nodded hello. A man named Albert Lynn saw me anyway. Saw my daughter. Taught us kindness isn't weakness, it's power. She gestured to the new wing. The Huff Lynn Kindness Pavilion. Not for billionaires or battles. For reflection. Real food. Community rooms. Scholarships for staff kids. A library where stories, like the ones in old journals, live on. Sophia stepped up next, holding Jeremiah's leather journal, and Albert's spiral notebook. She read softly, voice carrying over the crowd. Final entry. April 20th, 2026. They think I'm gone. Had to fake the end, briefly, to force the truth out. Doctors owed favors. Miracle recovery, timed perfect. Watched from afar. One last test. Would kindness hold when money's on the line? Gasps rippled. Turns out, it wins. The girl's stronger than all of us. Jeremiah's blood through and through. Sophia closed the book, tears shining. He's not gone. The crowd parted. From the back, leaning on a cane but eyes sharp as ever, Albert Lynn stepped forward. Thinner, grayer but alive. Simple suit, no rags. Roger at his side, smiling faintly. Sophia ran. Maya followed, stunned. Albert knelt stiffly as Sophia reached him, hugging fierce. Told you chocolate chip wasn't poison, he grumbled, voice thick. You were watching? Maya whispered. Had to be sure, Albert said, standing with Roger's help. World cynical. But you two? Prove different. He looked at the pavilion. Legacy ain't just money. It's this. People seeing each other. Later, in the new reflection garden, benches under blooming dogwoods, Albert sat with Sophia, sharing a real bakery cookie. Final trade, kid, he said, pressing another coin into her hand, this one new minted engraved, Huff Lynn. For the rest of the story. And in that quiet DC afternoon with the city humming beyond the trees, a secret ritual became something bigger. Proof that one small kindness, offered without strings, can rebuild families, fortunes, and faith in each other. The cranky vet in room 214 had found his way home. And so had they. What will you rate this story from 0 to 10? And what part of the world are you watching from? Comment your country below. Let's build a global community rooted in kindness and second chances. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Your support brings us closer to our 1K subscriber milestone, and inspires us to keep creating more emotional stories of resilience, healing, and Black excellence. Thank you for being part of our journey. Your presence matters more than you know. Hope to see you again.